Hello! Of course, Gandalf has shown up as soon as I've turned the camera on, or every time. Hello and welcome to my studio update for November 2023. I can't believe how quickly this month is going. It's in the second half already and I am just not even sure where the last few weeks have gone. I've been not doing very much, to be honest, because October was so busy for me and I just wanted to take a break, so that's what I've been doing. I have been working on quite a few videos though, so just getting back into my general routine, and you may see that I'll have a few more midweek videos coming out for the rest of the year, just because it's a good time to make them for me, and January I may end up taking more of a break again, but leading up to Christmas I should have a few extra videos there, so look out for those. I hope you're all doing well out there, and I know for some of you it's coming up to Thanksgiving, so wishing you all a very happy Thanksgiving. If you're in the USA, we don't celebrate it here, which I'm quite glad about, to be perfectly honest, because Christmas is enough. I'm so not even prepared for that. One holiday a year is plenty. So you may have seen in my previous video that I visited the art shop again, and that's because they moved, and I did not know about this until they actually posted something about it and they said we're moving, and I went, oh my gosh. So that whole video I did earlier in the year is now null and void because they've gone somewhere just a bit down the road. Actually, it's not too far away, but the whole store has changed, so check that out if you haven't seen it already. It's bigger and better than it was, and it's in a really good location too. I bought myself one thing from there for Christmas, and then I've bought a few other bits and pieces, so I will show you those little bits and pieces that I picked up, just more studio essentials than anything else. And the other thing I bought is Miranda Watson's advent calendar, which has watercolors in it. I think it's a 12 Days of Christmas one, and that is coming from the USA. I really hope it gets here on time so that I can do a video on it. She was so kind and she gave me mates rates on the calendar, and I really appreciate that, Miranda. Thank you so much. So I'm really excited for that to arrive, and I just hope that it isn't delayed and that sometime in December we'll get to see it. I was going to get the Diamine Inkvent calendar, as I usually do, but the price of that has gone up quite a lot this year, and I was complaining about the price of it last year, so now it's gotten beyond the price range that I was willing to pay for it, and I am going to have to give it a miss this year. I'm sad because it's in a lovely purple box, but I do have rather a lot of inks from the previous years and I really haven't used them that much, so I don't think I want to get the next one. Everything's so expensive, it's so depressing. So I'm going to move on down to my desk and show you the things that I bought from the art shop. I also have a little project that I'm going to work on for the November calendar because I hadn't forgotten that, and a couple of other things to show you. Anyway, let's go down to the desk and see what I ended up buying, because you know I'm not coming out of the art shop empty-handed. So Gandalf got a hold of my absolute favourite mechanical pencil in a 0.5mm lead, and he's chewed all the end of it. It's such a mess. I'm so annoyed about that, and I really like these Staedtler Triplus micros. It still kind of works, but yeah, this end is just not very good, so I decided it was time to get a replacement. I picked up a couple of different mechanical pencils. These are Pentels. I've got a 0.5, which is a direct replacement for this one, and I also picked up a 0.3 because I have another mechanical pencil somewhere that decided to just stop working, like the mechanism's not going, and I don't even know where it is anymore, so I figured I've got some 0.3mm leads still, I may as well get a pencil to use them with. And I also could not resist this tiny little fountain pen that is by Pilot, a petite one, and yes, I just had to bring that home. It's got a tiny little cartridge in there, and I picked the black ink one. There are other colours, but I figure I tend to use black mostly. They also come with little cartridge replacements, and so I just really like that little tube. And then I have more than one cartridge to use in this pen, but I will test them all in a moment. So I ended up getting this little packet of fine liner pens because in my current sketchbook that I'm using, it does not like my other pens at all. These are the ones that I normally use. It's a Uniball I Micro and it's waterproof, but this ink just bleeds into that paper so badly, whereas fine liners don't seem to do that, and so I've picked up a few new ones so I can use them in my sketchbook, and it just happens to come with two metallic markers, a gold and a silver. I can always use those somewhere, so I just thought that would be useful useful to have. I also bought a few paint tubes at the art shop. I've probably mentioned before that I really like the golden open acrylics, and this is my collection here. So I've just picked up a few extra ones. I've got a Titan Buff, or Buff Titanium, which is always a useful light colour. Burnt Umber, because I can't believe I didn't have that one. I was looking through my stash and I have only Burnt Sienna, which tends to be just a bit too orange, so I wanted a darker brown, and those are the only two browns I have in there. I got a Carbon Black, because I've been using Payne's Grey as my dark. This is a really good colour, I love it, but I just thought I'd get a Carbon Black too, because when it comes to acrylic paints I tend to use a lot of black. And last up I got a second tube of Titanium White. I've got one in here somewhere, and unlike watercolours I do use Titanium White acrylics and oil paints a lot, so you can never have too much white because it mixes so well with all the other colours and makes transparent colours more opaque. So I figured since it was on sale I may as well get another tube. There are a few other colours that I would like, such as an orange and a purple, but those ones are really expensive, so I'll just keep mixing them because that's a cheaper option. I'll swatch out all the pens and pencils that I got, starting with this fountain pen, but of course I have to pull it apart in order to get the cartridge going because it's got a little yellow cap on. And admittedly it took me a little while to figure this thing out, but what an annoying piece of landfill right there. Go away. The top part of the pen has a plastic sharp thing in the middle, which is going to puncture that cartridge and vacuum the ink up. This is the most satisfying thing I've ever seen with a pen. Look how cool that is. I don't think I've ever seen a fountain pen fill up this satisfyingly, and I had to do this bit in real time so you can enjoy it too. Once it got to the end, it filled up the main chamber, and in just a moment the pen will be ready to use. Ah, I love that. I could watch that all day long. It was so great. I'm very glad I recorded that. Anyway, let's get using it now. I'll just put it back together so I can hold it. And I've just got a cheap bit of copy paper here just to swatch everything out on. I also completely forgot to swatch the paints, so we're not going to see that. My apologies, but this pen started pretty much straight away and I really like it. It cost around $5, so it's a real bargain, and I think the extra cartridges were about $2.50, something like that. Now onto the 0.3mm pencil, and this one was very thin, as you could probably see there. It was a little hard in the lead, so I don't know which one they've used, but this 0.5mm is perfect and I really like it. A good replacement for the cat-chewed one. And now I'm opening the pens from Spotlight, and it has a picture of Hannah Basford on it. She's the one that does all the colouring books. But these pigment liners work exactly as I would expect them to. A 0.1 and a 0.2mm fine line pen. And what I did not realise until right now is that this is a chisel one, and oh dear, I'm not very good at using it, I'm afraid. It does have a big line variation, which could be interesting. I'll have to play around with it some more. Now the gold pen worked out pretty well, but the silver pen is really dried out, and I don't know if I can be bothered just taking it back to Spotlight or not. We'll see. The effort may be more than I can deal with. But that's right, I also bought some washi tape when I was in Kmart. I think they were down to $3 or something, and that's a pretty decent deal. I like the patterns, and I thought I would use them on my November calendar piece because I couldn't think of an artwork for November, so I figured this is a really great way to test all of them and just see what they look like together. You know they're never going to go back in the tube in the same order, but I thought because they're all quite coordinated with each other that they'd make a nice background if I just put them in strips, starting off with this one at the top. And these are Australian designs, flowers and some birds in there, so very relevant for where I live. I'll just cut this one off, and I really should have snipped it a bit further so I could wrap it around. I decided to do that later on with the other tapes. But now you've got the idea, I'll speed this up so you can see all of the rest of the tapes going down on here. I think I was able to fit about 8 of 10 of them up to November, and then I put a couple of others down at the bottom of the page, so I was able to fit all of them on. There were 2 bird ones, and I used those at the bottom because that pink one is quite bright, and you can see there's a teal one there as well. The other tapes all had floral designs, and this one had a very shiny gold one, which kind of stands out from all of the rest too. But I do like it. I think the colour palette is beautiful. Greens, golds, some pinks, and some teals. So if you have a bunch of washi tapes and you don't really know what to do with them, they do make a nice background if you lay them side by side like I'm doing here. And this was also a nice way to see them all displayed so I can get an idea of what they're going to look like when I use them in future projects. I didn't quite have enough room, so I've covered half of November there, but it's close enough. And then I'm using the two darker coloured bird tapes down the bottom, as I mentioned before. So I've got kookaburras on this side and cockatoos on the other side. Kmart has some really nice packs of washi tape. They're worth checking out if you're in the market for them, and they're cheap too, which is always great. I found this little parrot cut out in my stash, and so I thought I would add this on top, and I didn't like the white border. I was much too lazy to cut it out, so I'm using that gold pen to go around the whole thing, and I think this will also help it to stand out from the washi tape background. I'm still annoyed about the silver pen. I think I'll have to look around and see if I have the receipt and maybe I can take it back, but I don't really want to take all of the pens back. It's such a nuisance because everything else works well, and if I do that, am I going to have to replace everything and then another pen doesn't work? Sometimes, it's just not worth the effort for one pen. Maybe Nick will convince me, we'll see. But the gold one's nice and juicy, and I had to be very careful not to put my fingers in it and make a big mess, which I think I did once off camera. But I think the gold just really brought the whole thing together. It's not the shiniest metallic pen I've ever seen though, but the colour of the gold is quite nice, so I can forgive it a little bit, I guess. Just finishing it up here, and then once it had mostly dried, I've grabbed this art glitter glue, which is basically an expensive PVA glue, but it works incredibly well for paper, sticking it down really solidly. That is not going to come off once it's dry. And it also has a precision nozzle, which I bought extra because it is just so much easier to use when trying to glue precise things down. Not that I was being very precise here, but you get the idea. Just blob that glue on and then it should stick down nicely. So let's put it into the middle of the page. I was trying to decide if it should go to one side, but nah, it's good there. And now it's down, it should stick pretty quickly, and I think it's really cute. It works perfectly with the washi tape. That half cut off November was kind of annoying me though, so I'm going in with the gold pen and just lettering the whole lot with it. Also going over the top of the washi tape so you can see November in its entirety once more. And I think I did this with 2023 down the bottom just to kind of make it match, and I'd also cut off the 2 a little bit. Here's the finished piece. I really like how it turned out, and I especially like that shiny gold tape in the middle there. So this was a bit of fun and something different for November because I just could not think of a painting, and it just feels very spring and Aussie-like. So off camera in my spare time, I've been working on another little junk journal, and this one I made entirely with paper, no art in there, but I've been making little tags and pockets and all sorts of stuff with a whole bunch of paper I have in my stash, including some music paper, scrapbook paper, and lots of stickers and other little bits of ephemera. There's also lace in there, but I've just been really enjoying doing paper crafts lately. It's been really great to relax, and I also had a bit of art block going on, so I was doing the paper craft instead just because I couldn't think of anything to draw. So my sketchbooks unfortunately have been a bit neglected, but at least I've been making something, and I love this cat tag. That's one of my favourite things in there. I went to that paper show recently, which I showed I think in my previous studio catch-up video for October, so some of that is in here, and the paper designs are so pretty. So it's been really great to use up some of it. Apparently with these tags you're supposed to write on the back of them, and I have not done this on any of the tags I've made. I just don't know what to write that would be meaningful and would be something I'd want to read later on. But I guess if something occurs to me I can come back to this and write in them. I may end up giving this away as well, although I did spend a lot of time on it and I'm not quite ready to give it up yet. But on this side I used a page from a Shakespeare book that I have. I found it in a vintage market for a few dollars. It's all coming apart from the cover and I don't think it's worth anything, so I may as well give it a new lease on life in a junk journal. And I have more tags here. That tag kind of clashes with the rest of the page. I'm not so keen on that one. I've got another one hiding here, and I probably need to put a little tab on it because it keeps getting lost in that really deep pocket. And then I've got another one here. I found these little bird cards, there's a whole bunch of them, and so I thought I'd include one in there. And you can see there's writing space on the back of the tab as well. A lot of these tabs and pockets are actually made from pieces of paper that would normally go in the recycling bin, like clothing tags, recycled envelopes, and other bits and pieces of cardboard that I end up accumulating. I also have a lot of lace offcuts and just things that I can't bear to throw away, and so now I've found some kind of purpose for them, cutting them up and sticking them in a junk journal. True love. I like that one. That came out from one of those paper packs that I bought from the Papercraft show, and I put that butterfly behind it just to make it look kind of fun when I put the tag in. And that's the last page. A collage of offcuts. So I had a good time with this little book, and I've made some other books with scrapbook paper, but these are actually mini sketchbooks that I decided to try and make, and I have some really nice watercolour paper inside. I stuck one in a pocket, and of course I can't get it out. This is a prototype I made, and so it's not the best when it comes to the way the pocket is designed. But in this booklet there are essentially 5 sides of paper because I have folded over one piece and then stitched it in with some book binding string, and I use that washi tape. It looks messy, I don't like it very much, but it was fun to try making one and see how it turned out. I think I want to try and make more of them, hopefully improved, especially with that pocket, because that's kind of annoying. I really like this one though. I think this one turned out a bit better, and I have put the pocket on the other side, so I've got exactly the same layout inside with some really nice 300 GSM cotton watercolour paper and the other piece on that side of the pocket. I'm really hoping to fill these 2 books with some paintings. Look out for the video, hopefully coming soon. I haven't yet filmed it, but I do have plans for both of these books, so this is most definitely a future project. Well, that's all I have for this month. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of those bits and pieces, and I will be back again on the weekend for another video. And don't forget to check out the art shop tour if you haven't done that. I will link it up here somewhere, and there'll be another video up here as well. So have a great day out there. I'll see you all again really soon. Swatch you later. Bye.